So, what is this word called? Psychedelic. That's the word. Okay. It's crazy. It's interesting right here. Psychedelic drug. So this is what the drug that Donald Trump passed. This is crazy. You know, substances that significantly alter perception, mood, and consciousness. People who with depression, right? This is crazy. People who are depressed. Huh. What's up, guys? Shoot. So. April 26th, psychedelic legal form in the United States is rapidly evolving through. Okay, yeah, that's what it's leading to. Whew. Wow. From marijuana to psychedelics. Everybody's gonna be on mushrooms now. That shit's crazy. Alright, good. Wow, that depression. I never understood that. Honestly, I'm being honest. I never understood all that depression stuff. I don't know what to say. I don't. I never understood this depression movement. Man, I don't know. Probably because it's just my expression number five. I'm just too sexual, too fucking traveling all the time, doing fucking risking. I don't know, but yeah, I think it's for some people it's a good news, right? That the president of the United States of America had some legal reform passed for that kind of medicine, drugs, psychedelics, and people are happy now that they're gonna have their little doses to feel better, and so this is why I don't understand why this gym trending garbage, if that was working from 4 or 5 years ago, hitting the gym, why is still government passing laws that need to be implemented to target or fight depression if this so-called hitting the gym stuff works. Well, but I guess what can I say? Good for the people who are gonna benefit from that, right? And I've never suffered from I think everybody goes through up and downs, but not to the point that depressed, right? They say so some imbalance chemical in the brain. I don't know. I don't believe everything the fucking scientist says. What's up, guys? Federal. Boom, boom, boom. President Trump signed an executive order on April 18. To mental health condition, PTS, and veteran. Okay, PTS and veterans, right? Yeah. I think veterans, instead of fucking having psychedelics, they need a house. That's what they need. You know? Yeah. I don't know. I think these all mental conditions. No, I take that back. I think I met a lot of people who had a big home or have a big home family, and they still suffer from depression. So I was gonna I just talk shit saying that like veterans don't need more medication. They need a house, right, to stay, to own, right? But I guess it's not, man. I'm not gonna claim that I know the answer for that one, depression. But I think it's real. What's up? Depression, Maxine. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It just, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what. Like, I don't have a topic for tonight. I'm just being open, but talking. Going through what's legal matters and new laws passing. I think it was just that thing 2 days ago, and it's just it's all right. I always believe, even though I've never did it, but I always believe that everything that comes from Earth, right, from the soil, right, it has to have some good properties, right? It's just the interaction with man, with man's brain, and put in more other chemicals that makes it a little bit, bad. But anything that comes from the ground, I'm talking about everything, right? It has to have some good properties. But who knows how to do them, and this is when it becomes a little bit messy, right, and confusing if it's good or not. But you either see everything as very meaningful or meaningless. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I guess. But I don't think I disagree a little bit with that. I agree though, but I don't know what I read it. That sometimes it's better. No, it is better. I know so in my own life. It's been more than 10, yeah, more than 15 years at least that I don't find meaning in things. I try to discover the nature of things, right? Just like I've been talking about woman, the nature of woman, the nature of men, instead of having meaningful definition or meaningful, explanation. I'm just like, what's the nature of things, right? And going back to these drugs, right? What's the nature of marijuana? What's the nature of mushrooms? What's the nature of cocaine, of puppy, all that, right? And I think that's the best approach in my own experience, because then there's like literally a legitimate, right, approach on the plant, right? Instead of, well, it's meaningful when this person has it or this, but then it's just based on the people's idea. It's not based on the nature of the tree or the plant. I think it's more powerful than finding meaning to something, because then it just becomes bias and stereotypes and is based on your own physical brain and body. And the nature of things is you can't go wrong. It's just neutral, right? Either it will work or will not work on levels or degrees, right? You know. Camila Araujo will fight with you on a season 18 on the farm. What? Who's Camila Araujo? Yeah, yeah. You will fight. We have UFC fighters here. MMAs. She's a female. That's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, going back, I don't know. I stopped using that phrase about finding meaning in things. I just don't. I think it's just no. I'm not gonna do that. It's been a long time that I do my best to discover the nature of things, right? The nature of everything instead of the meaning of something, because then it will distract me from the real, original, authentic uh, usefulness of whatever I'm searching for, right? Um, so, did you mean? Yeah, so, well, since we are here talking about a little bit about this fucking drug, I don't believe it's a imbalanced chemical. I don't believe that. I don't believe that stuff. I don't believe that. All these drugs, what they do is they try to enhance or bring happiness into your life, right? By altering some nerve or some neuron inside your brain or whatever you fucking call it. But I think that you can do that when you expose yourself to going out of your house, right? Getting out of your mattress, going out there. But I think people are fearful. And you know what? I'm gonna. He said it very right. The president. He and not only him. Everybody says that he's. I don't have time to be depressed. Like I'm doing so much shit. Like I don't have time to be depressed. I think that's the answer of all times, right? I think it is. I'm not being disrespectful to nobody who suffers from depression, but you're depressed. You're not. It's not that you're not doing enough, but you're not risking enough. Yeah, because when you risk, you alter your nervous system, and then you start creating that adrenaline, that hormone, and it's just like yeah, it keeps going. It just boom, boom, boom. Something leads to something else, and it's just like you're on a mission impossible. But when you're not doing anything, I mean, yeah, you're living in stagnation and nothing happens. Yeah, it's just me. Nothing happens, real happens. But going back to what I've said, so this, how is woman can cure your sadness, right? How can a hooker or somebody, right, who doesn't want to have a family but wants to have, you know, intimate relationship with somebody, and I think that's a good way to fight depression. I think so, and it's a more natural way, and it give you experience and it give you knowledge about the opposite sex, right? And all these drugs, what makes you is stagnates you in one place to just accept whatever life is, making you comfortable. I disagree. I think sex cures a lot of things. Cures depression, cures shyness, poverty, anything. If you're a good lover, you can't be poor. You cannot be poor. Uh-uh. I read a lot about seducers that you can't be poor. That's why I encourage people to be more sexual active as a man. Of course, obviously, as a man, you need to be more sexual active and stop saving your money for whatever you want to buy instead of fucking buying experiences. We all know that. Go out there, and have fun. Travel. If there's nothing in your city, travel to another city where there's more women. Do your research. I know there's a lot of cities, you know, when there's more women than men. That's the city you want to be. You don't want to move to a state, to a city where there's more men than women, right? Not because you fear competition, because you're being smart. It's a mathematical equation. You're using math, real math, right? Not meth, math, mathematics, right? Yeah, I don't believe that. People need to be more sexual active. I think that's why the president of the United States of America, he likes, porn stars and all that crazy stuff. Fucking cheats on his wife and all that models and shit. That's why he's never depressed. He's almost 80 and laughing and confident. I think that's a good figure to learn from, right? He's not perfect, like I said it. That's what don't women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with imperfections, right? And I claim that to this day. That's it's good for you. What's up, huh? Yeah, I'm German. Yeah. So, guys, stop being depressed and go have sex, right? With the opposite sex, obviously. You guys be dummy. You be trans, right? That's what it is. Criticize the president of the United States of America he makes a lot of mistakes. I know that. I know he does. But one thing he, you know, has kept is his manhood. I can give him credit for that. He has woman left and right. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. That's very respectful. And I think depressed man should follow that too. When he said that I don't have time for depression. I'm doing so much stuff with women and businesses. Because woman is a business, actually. You want to see it that way. Goodbye. What? You going to sleep? What's up? Huh? This is getting good, bro. Hmm? You guys need to get out of your mattress, out of your room, right? And you need to go out there and not be scared of rejection and get depressed and hit the pipe and feel safe in your head. No, 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 no. That's just making you weak. Making you weak, bro. You're just making you weak. Women don't fall in love with wealthy or successful people. They fall in love with risk takers, right? The more risks you take, the more sexier you become by default. Period. By default, right? That's how it is, right? But I can understand because I did time with military who are PTSD actually. Actually, people who do time too, they develop that PTSD. I never developed that. I know, but I understand coming from war. Well, I don't understand because I never been in war overseas. I've been in war in prison, but that might be different. But still war. And I know exercise, sex, eating good food, and speaking your mind increases. I think more than 60% of defeating fucking depression. Right? I think depression is feelings holding up, just stacking up because you don't want to speak your mind because you're just scared. That's what it is. And when you hit the pipe or you hit those psychedelics things, now you have courage, right? Because everything's happening here. But that doesn't end here. If it's happening here, it has to go through your body. You have to take action on it. That's why we have a physical body. We don't have a brain just to stay and live in our heads. Okay? We have to live out there. Period. Period. Whatever excuse it is, you have to live out there. You can't live on your head. No, can't. You can imagine what can happen, but then you have to go do it in person. Physical body. That's how it is. You have to do it. What's up, Canolos? Looks at man who kills the adrenaline on living, leaving behind the gap of depression. It is true. It is true. They don't want to believe it. They criticize it. But it's good for some people. But at the end of the day, it's just making them weak. Isolation makes you weak. Isolation makes you weak. Right? Everybody wants to be safe. Nobody wants to get hurt nowadays. Everybody wants to just like, no, just garbage. You create your own depression, your own prison. You know? Nobody wants to go to county jail for a few days because he says something bad to a woman or to a guy, and like, it's just weak shit, man. It's just weak people, weak people. You know, you know. It's just fucking. Is an answer. Feels illegal, but it isn't. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Yeah, that's what it is, brother. That's what it is. But it's okay. We're just here enjoying the night and speaking our mind a little bit and speaking on, not only speaking my mind, but kind of like embracing what other minds have spoken before, right? That's the thing. I haven't met somebody who was not depressed and was out loud, outgoing guy. They all fucking shy. They're all look like they're gonna die. They're all skinny. Like it's just irrelevant, man. It's not criticizing. It's just raw observation that sometimes you create your own death, right? You create your own death. That's what it is. Fear of death. That's number one cause of depression. Fear of death. Nobody wants to die, right? Okay, but that's the nature of things. That's the nature of things. That's the nature of things. And I just have to say, I appreciate, the mentors that I've had that have told me, Alex, everybody fears, everything or anything in life, and it's normal, but sometimes you have to breathe it out and still go. Yeah. That's what it is, and I love it. I love it. They can pass any law. They can even pass a bill where cocaine is legal. I already know a lot of dummies are gonna be, oh my god, it's legal cocaine. I won't even fucking touch it, not even look at it, Just because it's passed, it's legal, that means that you're just gonna do it, But it's just fucking stupid. Out of this, somebody's getting rich, okay? Somebody's selling the psychedelics. Somebody's selling all these drugs. Somebody is, right? And you're buying it through your insurance. So it's just how it is, man. Sometimes people ask for that. You have to give them to them, and you have to acknowledge that sometimes people, they don't want to be healed. They don't want to be cured, right? They just want to smooth it out and keep living in their prisons, and that's good. That's good. I don't mind. I have my body, my brain, and I'm gonna use it. Because if you don't use it, somebody will use it for you. And that is dangerous, in my opinion. In my opinion. So I was interacting with one guy at my work today. He said, man, I'm tired of this job, right? I'm like, good. That's a good news, bro. That means you're going to take action. And he said, yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. One more week. I must do my own thing. That's the whole point about when you don't like something. It triggers you to do something that you like now, right? People go for years in a place where they don't like, but for some reason they program themselves to like it, right? Just crazy. Why is this sign still here? But yeah, that's what's up, guys. So I'm just interested to know if men are more depressed than women, right? There'll be something interesting to know. You know, let's look it up right here with the Jewish people. Google. Are men more depressed than women? It should be the opposite, huh? Are men more depressed than women? They experience depression differently. What? Oh, this is crazy, bro. This is fucking crazy. Yeah, thank you guys for supporting. So women are generally more likely to be diagnosed with depression than men, but men often experience depression differently and have higher suicide rates. Ah, okay. So generally women, you know, are diagnosed with more depression than men, but men have higher risk to suicide, to take their lives. Yeah, when women are depressed, they go to sex clubs. I already said it. They have threesomes and they become a hoe, right? And men, instead of, looking for women, they look just, I don't know, just to take their lives. I don't know. It's crazy, right? How it affects differently. But I can tell you this by fact that I met a lot of people People start exercising and they start feeling less depressed. It doesn't go away, right? And then they start interacting with the opposite sex, and guess what? They're not depressed at all. They're not. Because you're living by nature. No, isolating yourself from the opposite sex, just like what's trending right now. Oh, I'm done with women. I'm single. What? What the fuck? What is that supposed to mean? Putting up with BS is the problem. Not going anything about. Get the exactly. Yep, it is true. It's true. Yeah, I think it's that's that. For me, that's the biggest problem. It's not even oil or inflation. Inflation might be second, but for me, the first one is just like men don't want to do nothing with women no more. You know, like I don't see how can that answer one of the biggest problems in humanity. I don't know how can that make you more healthy, right? And men are gonna say, well, I was in a relationship for 20 years, an abusive relationship with my wife, and now that I'm single, I'm better. But yeah, but you let yourself be to get abused, buddy. It's not because of the opposite sex. It's because of your own stupidity, of your own being simp, right? Not being, holding a strong frame, having boundaries. So that has nothing to do with a woman, you know? And it happens to everybody. I have dealt with disrespectful women. I said, get the fuck out of here, right? Or I'll walk away, period. That's how it goes, right? If anybody who's been in a relationship for 20 years, 30 years, and said, well, I'm single now, I'm living the life. I mean, that can be for a while, but that nature's gonna hit you back because you're not in this planet to be isolated from the opposite sex, period. You're not. Or the other one, not to have children. That's my favorite one. Right? Why would I bring children to this awful world? That stems from having dads or fathers or parents that they never provide sufficiently for you. That's what it is. Yeah. And that's an excuse, right? That's an excuse, period. It is an excuse. Not having children, not trying to deal with opposite sex is an excuse. It makes you weak, right? It makes you weak, period. And I do criticize men who talk about picking up women and they don't have no children. How can you give advice on how to be a good example of a man? You are to a certain extent, but what's the other side? You know, when you decide not to have kids, then you stop being a good example of a man what a man's supposed to be. Period. Right? Man's supposed to have children. You don't have to get married. If you want to get married, if not, just have children. Right? That's gone. That what it is. But just people, young people, they don't want that. They don't want chaos. They think this is a world with just order. Right? Things get messy. Right? In this physical reality, things get messy. And having a victim mentality and avoiding trouble is not going to make you stronger, right? Resilient. It's not. It's not, right? It's not. It's just like me trying to do that list. Well, I'm going to be sore doing legs. I'm going to be sore for 3 days. I'm not going to do them. That's not how it goes, you know? You're going to take the pain because it's going to pays off and you know it's part of the nature of recovering, right? Your muscles are recovering, right? You eat healthy, you take whatever, so your recovery will be fast. But once you age, it takes more time for that to recover. But that doesn't stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? That's the whole point, right? I got betrayed by my wife or my girlfriend. Good. Everybody has. Me, pickup artist, everybody. Everybody. This is just okay, I'm done with women. That sounds so gay. Worse than that, right? It's just worst. I can't stand those kind of people, man. I can't. I don't have nothing to say to those guys. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, I don't want to have no children because, you know, if they get me, they're gonna get my children too. What the fuck is that? Ah, damn. I don't. I disagree with that. Totally garbage, in my opinion. Mm? Totally garbage. Yeah, if I tell you, should you trust a man with no kids? To a certain point. To a certain point, if he's a warrior, a fighter, he can be a good fighter. He can be, something else, career. But going to the depths of human cycle about manhood parenting, how can you be? Like, if you don't have offspring, like, I don't know. That's just like, it defeats the purpose of being a man, right? You create literally testosterone. You have sperms to procreate on one ejaculation to procreate almost the whole world, right? In one day. So it doesn't make sense. Anything that goes against your nature is not good, bro. It's not. If we were to create testosterone once a year, like every other month, right? Our balls are empty. But literally, bro, we fucking eat on a daily basis. We are creating testosterone on a daily basis. And you're telling me you're not having kids, you're not having intimate relationships with women because you don't want to deal with drama? Come on, man. That's weak. It's weak. That's weak. It's not gonna get better. It's gonna get worse because you're living in a fantasy world and with victim mentality. Victim mentality. Like I said, it's not why they don't want me. It's who wants me. Okay, it's a mathematical. It's math. I guarantee you, there's one girl who wants you, and for you not to even try that much, right? That's the catch, and that's the good news, right? But what is she gonna come and knock on your door? No. No. You have to travel. Okay? You have to create your own path and say bye bye to your family, your parents, brothers, or sisters. You have to go to your own voyage. Start meeting new people, and I guarantee that you're gonna laugh at yourself like, man, what about if I've never made this decision? Yeah. So now you can know what other people feel, right? For me, it's just fear. Fear, 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 fear of the unknown, right? Fear. Yep, that's what it is. I will never, I cannot tolerate depression. I cannot. Cannot tolerate depression. People get uncomfortable. Oh well, so what? I cannot. There's so many things to do. But everybody has a budget. Everybody's saving money. Everybody's on paying bills. Everybody wants to be comfortable. Nobody wants to be on the streets, right? Why should be, right? But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you're going to. You're gonna hit rock bottom. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. You should feel. You shouldn't feel guilty, right? Every successful man hits rock bottom. Period. Stop fucking listening to these fuckers who are interviewing rich people. How do you become rich? Well, hard work and effort. Bought a few stocks here and there in real estate, and I became rich. Garbage. You think they're gonna tell you? You think they're gonna tell you? You think they're gonna tell you how to make Coca-Cola now? No. This is how you make Pepsi or Coca-Cola. It's a secret. It's a secret formula. Only a few have access to it. That's what it is. Yeah. So that's what's going on. I love it. I just love it. And one catch, you can't be too. For the people who believe in religion, it will be hard because you're being taught that you have to be, you know, ethical, right? Morals. Ain't no such thing. These people who preach to be moral, they're not. Hello, what's up, Reverend? Anybody who preaches to be moral, they're not. Morality. Nope. It sounds good. It sounds very, modest, right? Be moral. Nah. That's one of the impediments of young men not having women, right? Because oh, she has a boyfriend. Who cares? Huh? Oh, she has a husband. Who cares? No, who cares? Just don't get killed, right? But if you're always trying to find the perfect young man, like, well, I don't want to be fooling around, Alex. I literally want a girlfriend or a wife. Oh, really, bud? You think it's just gonna come just like that? You think it's just like a list that you can go to the grocery stores? I'm gonna go aisle 2 and 3, and I'm gonna find that, right? It's not, it doesn't work like that. Any guy who has been married or have experience with women, they know it. They got to the point that they stop approaching women to be their girlfriends or to be in a relationship. A lot of times is after you have sex with that woman, you will know if she will be your wife or she's eligible for a relationship. It doesn't come before. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It comes after for the most part, if not all the time, right? People who want to have girlfriends, people who want to be in relationships. Oh, what are you looking for? Oh, long-term relationship. Shut the fuck up. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't, right? It doesn't. It only works with probably a woman who's 40, right? 35, 40, 50. Why would you want to be with a woman like that? Why? If you want to have kids, okay? You should get woman 30 and under, right? And you never bring that up. I want to be in a relationship. It's very unattractive to women. It's a turnoff, actually. Very. It's a turnoff. They don't want that. They say they want that, but you remember, woman's language, it's backwards. All right, it's backwards. God, it's not up, it's down. The devil is not really the devil, it's God. So it's just the opposite, right? It's backwards. And they did this on purpose by design to trick and confuse man and humanity, right? Women don't want to date, right? I just get tired of that. Dating is no longer what it was, right? Have you heard that? Dating is no longer what it was. What was it in the first place? Huh? Meeting a girl, boom, having sex, having children. That was dating back in the day, right? I don't know what changed. What changed? Huh? Oh, you need to get to know the person first. You don't even know yourself as a man. How in the fuck you gonna get to know a woman if you don't even know yourself? You don't even know your height. I can literally ask people right now, man, they don't even know their height, how much they weigh, their body mass, their fat percentage. They don't know. They don't even know how many calories have they intake, how much protein, right? And they're gonna tell me you get to be successful with women you need to get to know them. No, you know them along the way with failures, right? Boom, next woman. You get to know. This is why it's just the same with restaurants, right? You go to this restaurant, it's like, nah, I don't like the food here. I will never come back. Okay, that's just the same with women, right? Oh, you know what? This is no good. I don't like how she behaves. Okay, boom, then you to the next one. But you never have that approach and that mindset about I'm looking for a girlfriend or for a wife. You're never gonna find one. Never. Unless you buy one online from fucking South America or fucking Asia, right? And all they want is fucking papers, right? They think you're a fucking what? A fucking border patrol? Hmm? This is what the fuck is just like, yeah. But that's what I know based on my experience, bro, guys, right? You never want to have that mindset that I want to be in a relationship. Never, never, never. You never tell a woman that. Let her find out that we are already in a relationship. Period. That's how it goes. And I know a lot of people are gonna agree with me because I know I had this conversation, right, before this. I know it's true, and it's work with people. The minute you let go of that mindset that I want a girlfriend and you instead, I just want woman in my life, I want woman under my belt, this is the time that you, for real and for now in reality, you're going to start experiencing a different life that you were suppressing on you, and you were hiding yourself from it because of your mindset. And probably because your dad, your brother, your sister, your mom told you that. Respect woman. You always need to treat her like blah, blah, blah. And find a girlfriend or find a wife. No, it doesn't work like that. They become your girlfriend after you're intimate with her. They become your wife after you become intimate with her, not before. It doesn't happen that way, right? Unless you're a Muslim from the Middle East under a rock where they still abide by strong laws from the Quran or Muslim law, then that can be an exception. But you're in the Western Hemisphere, America, Europe, Western Europe, no. No. They're not gonna tell me, well, I'm looking for a wife or a girlfriend. Hell no. It's not. Doesn't go. Doesn't go. Mm-hmm. You get the girl, and then eventually you'll find out if she wants to be with you or not. And this is when you can call it a relationship, right? It's not after that you have sex, not before. Not before. You're not gonna order a food and say, man, this is delicious, right? This is stupid, right? You go to a restaurant like, man, this is delicious because you tasted it, right? You took your beautiful hands, dump it on the fucking plate, brought that food into your mouth, and you tasted it, swallow it, right? You know how it tastes, and like, man, this is good, delicious. The same with women, right? You cannot tell it before if it's going to work or not. You don't know. And people are scared to failure. People don't want to do nothing with girls because they hear stories on internet saying like, oh, you know what? I got divorced. You know, my girl took all the money from me. You know, and men tell themselves, well, I work so hard just to lend my money to get robbed by a woman. Well, there's prenups, right? There's a way. Contract a lawyer. If you're gonna get married, there's a way to go about it, right? So she don't steal your money. But yeah, it's an excuse, and I hear it every time, uh, every time, man, they don't want to deal with women no more. The dating game is rigged. The dating game is a fucking joke. It's garbage. It's fake, fabricated. It's not real. Mating is not dating. You're not here because your dad dated your mom. You're here because they made it, right? They made it. They had intercourse, and boom, here you are. Not because dating. It will take time to learn that. Okay, it's not for everybody. For some, well, I genuinely believe that a lot of people don't want to have kids, and it's okay. I do. I do want to have kids. I think it changes your life, not because it was the same. It gives you another face of the diamond, right? It's just like life is a diamond, right? Same diamond, different face, right? You turn around the diamond, it's another face, right? That's life, you know. And when you have kids, when you have a woman, right, who's giving her womb to you, it's just another story, man. It's just like that's another part of life. That if you don't live it, experience it, yeah, I don't know what to tell you then, right? It's just like going to a restaurant and ordering food and never eating it. Mm? Just smelling it. Smells very good. Okay. I mean, good luck, right? But yeah, that's my way of illustrating this whole concept about being depressed, right? And knowing that woman will take off that depression. Kids, right? I never seen a woman with a lot of kids. I've seen stressed women who are stressed but not depressed. Okay? They're stressful because the kids are driving her crazy. But that's just nature. That's just the cycle of life. But I've seen women who are depressed because they don't want to have babies because now they're 50, 45, 5 years old, right? Or because they don't want to have because they hate their dad and they hate men and they're fucked up from their heads, right? I've never seen a depressed man with kids. Never. Never seen it. Not in prison, out of prison, in another state, in another country. Never seen it. I never seen a man depressed who has something. I have 4 kids, 5 kids. I'm depressed. Never. They can tell me, man, they're driving me crazy. You know, I'm a little bit stressed, but not depressed. Absolutely not. What's up? Hello. Do you have any advice for dealing with depression? I'm currently looking for someone just to talk to. This is kind of my last thing to be besides drinking or looking for a medication to abuse. Well, if you've been listening, now first of all, I'm assuming you're a man, right? Because by the words, right? Because a lot of times I have to take a good guess if it's a woman or a man. But let's say you're a man. So I don't give advice, right? I heard it. The worst advice that anybody can have is to give advice, right? Because everybody's going through their own things. Everybody has their own body, their own brain. And to give advice for me is just selfish. It's just for me is just naive, ignorant in my behalf, right? I don't give advice. I share stories, right? I can illustrate, you know, something with something. But like I said, young people who are depressed, it's because either they haven't found like a art, martial arts. They don't know how to fight, and they don't have a family. Okay, depression. I'm just gonna say I don't believe what doctors say all the time. They're humans, and I think they're manipulated by the government, so they can't tell you everything because they're under the balls of Uncle Sam of the government in any country. Scientists and doctors are not the greatest men of all time. They're not. Okay, even if they know something, somebody it's above them who's are telling them you can't say that, you cannot do that. So depression for me is not in fucking imbalanced chemical in your brain. It's not. For me, it's just lack of courage, adventure, and how to tackle depression is to do the opposite, right? Okay, you're gonna get your book bag, you're gonna get your luggage, and you're gonna get out of the house, right? From your parents, from your sister, whatever it is, you need to get out of the house because those vibes that are encircling you are playing a big factor in why you think and act how you think and act. Okay? In other ways, why you're depressed. Okay? Seeing the same people on a daily basis creates some type of like it's not the word bitterness, but it creates what can I say? I can't. I forgot the word, but I'll come back on that one. So you need to see new people as a young man or as a man. You need to see new people, and that includes the opposite sex, right? Okay, and not necessarily you need to talk just to have sex. You just have to interact and listen to female voice. You have to interact. You need to feel how it is to feel when they reject you, when they say no, when they say yes, when they ask you your name, right? And one thing about I've seen about depressed people is that they have low self esteem, and when the opposite sex, a woman, asks them a question, they get happy. That was very interesting on me, right? I've met a lot of people who are depressed and sad, and when a woman approaches them for some reason, not because they want to hit on them, but it's just because part of the job or something, they get very excited. And this is what I know by fact that men who are suffering from depression is because they feel lonely and they don't have pussy enough or at all, right? And if they have their moms, of course, Moms, they're ignorant sometimes, especially when it comes to men. They don't give good advice or stories to their sons. They don't, because they're women. Okay? And a lot of times they don't even give good advice to their daughters. Right? They don't. Okay? I'm not belittling women, but I'm just talking about the nature of things. It's just not. It's not. It's rarely when you see a woman, okay, who can give good stories to their sons or their daughters. Most of the time, it's just garbage. They just want the best for you, but at the same time, what's best for you, you don't know it yet because you haven't taken risks. You haven't got out of the house. You haven't enrolled in the military and some martial arts where you can experience life through pain and pleasure, right? Remember, guys, we create those chemicals that gives us pleasure. Just as this, at the same time, we have chemicals and nerves that whenever we're going through pain, we feel it. Okay, so that's the good thing. But yeah, just to answer your question, um, climbing on rough tubes feels illegal, but it is not. Well, yeah, it depends what state you are. You know? Depends what state. That's another thing about the legal system, right? What's legal here, it's not legal in another state. So sometimes you will find a hard way. Sometimes you just do your research and see what's up. But climbing a roof, it might not be illegal. You know, it might not be illegal. And yeah, but to answer the question to the people, right? If I have any stories to how to combat, well, how to consider the reversal of depression, right? First of all, you need to know what got you depressed, right? You can make your introspection and have a notebook and try to be honest with yourself since when you've been feeling that, right? Because a lot of times I met a lot of people that they are truthful and honest, and I think they're right in their own decision, right? And they're entitled to their own right view. A lot of times young people go depressed because their parents divorced, and I think that's a valid reason why people go depressed. But then what are you going to do about it, right? Because divorced is something real, just like marriages, right? You can't control other people's decision, but you can have a sense of how you're going to respond to a situation, right? Decisions are the most fearful thing that you will ever do, bro. Honestly, decisions, because you don't know what's the outcome. You don't know the answer. That's why decisions are scary and intimidated, because you don't know the answer. Is this girl good for me? You ask your friend, your mom, your brother, your sister. You think this girl is good for me? You will never know until you go about it. All right. That's how it is. We're in a physical body, and you have to go through that physical experience. You cannot jump. You cannot skip that step. Okay. You're skipping the knowledge and your answers. That's the whole point, right? You're skipping your answers. But that's my afterthought about depression, right? That's my afterthought. It sounds immoral, whatever, but I think young men who are depressed is because they're not having sufficient sex interaction with the opposite sex, and in one side and the other side, they're not risking nothing. They're at their homes playing it safe because for some reason their family tells them that why are you gonna go out there? You're gonna get in trouble. And I think that's like a decent excuse to not go out in the world, right? You're gonna spend your money, and you get just stuff happens. People are going crazy, mass shootings. So always an excuse for that. Always, always. And it just you're gonna see that the years are gonna stack up on you, and then eventually you're gonna see that playing it safe, it's more dangerous than risking, right? Because playing it safe is a risk that only brings you one answer, right? failure. But when you take risks, there's a risk of failures, of course, but there's always a risk of winning, of being successful. And that's the beautiful part of success. That's the beautiful part. Staying at home, playing it safe, right? What's the risk? Failure. That's all. 100%. And risking, is there still failure? The factor of failure? Of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. 50-50. What's the other 50? Success. So why not? Why not take that? Not chances, but opportunity, right? To enjoy success, right? But like I said, everybody has their own brain, their own body, and at the end of the day, you have to overcome your victim mentality. You have to. You need some green in your life? Yeah, I eat arugula. That's actually good, and it's aphrodisiac, too. Yeah, it's aphrodisiac. I love it. I actually do take my greens. I love arugula. Yeah. 100% true. Yeah, it is. It is, man. It is. And I know that sometimes I've learned that the message or the stories that come from the people, sometimes you don't like the person, you don't like the people, and like, man, fuck this dude or whatever. But it's not until you take the time, and regardless, it can be a homeless guy, anybody. Not only like homeless, can be a rich guy, wealthy guy. And if he shares some story for you, don't be quick to disagree or too quick to agree. Listen, soak on it, and go apply it, right? Go apply it and see. See if it works for you. To what degree does it work? Does it work for one day, for a few months, for a few weeks? Okay, then what? Okay, then to the next thing, the next phase. That's what it is. But depression, 100%. It can be reversible, curable by interacting with people, right? One of the reasons you are depressed is because you don't want to share how you feel, because you're scared to speak your mind. Because why? Rejection, right? Rejection after rejection. But that's the only way, bro. The only way. And I'm telling you, I believe in medicine and doctors, but they don't have all the answers, right? We have our own answers, and doctors have answers too. But when it's time for depression, you have to go get your own answers, right? Isolation will make you more depressed. Going out there, right, will kill that. Going out there will give you some superpower that you can beat up depression, right? Not only me, you guys can go check the president, check other celebrities, other people who said how they beat up or fight depression. A lot of them said exercising, engaging with activities with other people who are different from you. Period. Right? Yep. But coming from Alex, and if you're a young man, I'm repeating myself again, I'm depressed. Should I smoke something? I mean, I'm not saying not to, but you just can't just rely on that all the time, right? Right? Because I do believe that everything that comes from the soil, from the ground, from the earth, has nutrients, right? And it's meant for something. It has something that will benefit you, right? But avoiding women because you don't know what to say, you haven't get laid, never, you don't know what to do. Just that's just an excuse. You have to throw yourself, bro. Just throw yourself out there. Throw yourself out there. Practice your breathing. Travel. Spend money, right? On these days, everybody wants to save. Save. Believe me, I know. If you don't save money, how are you gonna pay your bills? You're gonna be living on the streets. I know that. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you just need to risk, bro. You just need to spend money. on something that you want and you're gonna try it. And then you're gonna gain experience. When you gain experience, depression starts falling down, right? Every encounter you have with life, depression goes down, right? So when you at home, not doing nothing, playing it safe, you're not experiencing anything new. It's the same. That's why depression keeps eating you like cancer, keeps adding more and more and more that of that energy to your life. But once you get out there and you start doing different of your regular routine, then this is when you start adding experience to your life. And experience is the antidote really for depression, right? And experience, part of it, big chunk of it, it's the opposite sex. Of course, you cannot avoid that, right? You come from them, all right? If you tell me I come from a man, then I will tell you, okay, then forget woman, because that's not true, right? But every single motherfucker who's a man came out from a woman's womb, right? Unless they had C-section. But still, you came from a woman. And if you came from a woman, you have to go back to a woman, right? You can't skip that, okay? And doctors and therapists, they don't tell you that because they're more involved in money, right? And I don't blame them. Who doesn't like money? I do. Everybody does. We need money, right? But the thing is, when we're facing something that it's bigger than making a living out of it, I think it's worth putting that money on the side and literally be having a genuine approach about what really the planet needs, right? I think that, okay? That's why I don't believe in therapists. I don't believe in doctors that they just want to, you know, neutralize what you're going through instead of going and trying to reverse it, right? How? You need to know how it started. You were just not born depressed. Oh, I was born depressed at 1 year old. No, it's not true. You have to go back and analyze since when I started feeling like this. And from that, you're going to understand that you have nothing to do with it. And it's been a long time. And you need to let go, but not let go and say, okay, I let it go. When you grab something else, okay? If you want to let go of your ex, people say, oh, I let her go already. Okay. So you're holding to another woman now, right? Not because you're avoiding or distracting yourself. No, because I'm just done. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. If you let go of something, it's because you're holding something now. Okay? That's how it is, right? I let go of this because now I'm going towards this, right? Not rushing, but you're going towards something better, something new, right? I let go of a cigarette, so now I'm holding a dumbbell on my hands. Makes sense. I let go of a can of beer, now I'm holding a water bottle. Boom. See what I'm saying? See the analogy that I tried to paint? That's the whole point. Yeah, but we have it too. There's no other way. Risk, risk. It is. It is. It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I think that our families, they always have the good intention to teach us, but they want the best for us, right? And they don't want us to risk because they don't want nothing. They don't want to feel guilt if something happens to us, basically. And I understand that. I have children, right? My children said, "Dad, I'm enrolling in the military. I'm going to war." I mean, what kind of man if I would say like, don't do it? Why would you want to go to war? What kind of fucking punk ass man? Well, will be right? No, he's gonna be 18 years old pretty soon, and he's gonna dad. I'm going to the military. All right, you feel comfortable, you feel confident that that's the best decision. Go for it, even if you don't know the outcome. You just want to go try it because you're curious and because you have a physical body. You're making that decision. Even if it doesn't work for you, you still have that story to tell. I made the decision to enroll in the military. I didn't like it, or something happened and I just don't like it. Okay, good, but you did it. You made that decision. Nobody can stop you from making decisions. Those people who stop you, they're ignorant. Okay? They might say they love you, but they don't love you enough to let you go and make your own decisions. That's what I've learned in life. Sometimes parents are your worst enemies, right? Because they want to pick for you for what is right for you. How do they know, right? You have your own body, your own brain. How does my fucking parents know what's good for me? Unless I'm a baby, right? Or a children. Once you're an adult, you can't. Even though you think like this kid, he's 19, 18 years old, my boy is gonna get in an accident. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to allow it, and that's the tough part about having kids. And this is why I understand why a lot of people, and men especially, they don't want to have kids because they don't want to go through all that. They don't want to go through all this anxiety about. I bought the first car for my son, and I don't know if something's gonna happen out there. But that's still not an excuse for not to have children or not to live life out there. Period. Right. Period. That's that's guys. That's what I meant about fighting depression. You don't fight depression with medicine. You fight depression with a natural cycle of life, right? And yes, is that does that include marijuana? Does that include some mushrooms or whatever comes from the soil or earth? Yes. I was never into that, but I agree because I've made studies. I've made my own research on psychedelics and other plants that have these chemicals that alter your mind, right? Now you start seeing other things and you start talking to your inner self or other people, and it's okay. You go on your own trip to get to know more about your subconscious, about your inner call, right? I found my inner call just by being me, exposing to reality. I've met a lot of people like I didn't know I was a good painter or a magician, like music into music until I did this and that, and then I had a revelation. And after that, look, I'm writing songs and I'm successful. It's valid, right? It's good. But what I mean is that like you still have to go to that natural cycle, right? You just can't just depend on that all the time, because once you get to know your calling, right? You have that trip. Okay, boom, you did mushrooms. Okay, now I know who I am. Whatever, right? Okay, why are you gonna do it again? If you already know who you are, why are you gonna every day? Okay, I forgot who I am now. I'm gonna go back and do the same thing. Oh, get excited again, and then next day, okay, I forgot who I am. I'm gonna go do it again. Come on, no, no, right? I understand. It's one time experience. Good. Got excited. You got your answers. Now apply them. Okay? Go apply them in real life. Okay? This is why I disagree with people who rely on this type of plants or weeds or mushrooms that they want to be stuck in the sofa in the room just doing that. No, you do that because you really need help from your psychic. You know, there's a window that's going to open that's going to give you answers. So then you go and boom, now you have your answers. Go live your answers. That's the whole point. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up with this one. Depression, right? Besides whatever the medical field has defined it to what it is, I'm going to give you my own perspective, my own opinion based not only my own knowledge and research, but people that I've shared and people who have shared with me that I appreciated, right? They have trust in me and saying that it has helped them defeat depression when they have exercising. Running, it's another one, running. But one of the major things that I can never take it, and it's my favorite one, the first one, right? It will be sex, right? Sex. Sex cures a lot of things, right? Sex cures a lot of things. There was a Greek doctor. Well, back in the day, there was no doctors. It was a Greek physician, right? I think Hippocrates. I don't know, but I don't know if it was that. But he said that women's diseases can be cured with vitamin O, right? I'm like, vitamin O, orgasms. Ta-da! Right? Even women who are depressed a little bit can be cured with orgasms. So even as a man, if you create that, so then it's another world, guys. It's another world, right? So wrap it up with this one. Depression, it's real, but you know what's more real? Hmm? Taking risks, right? Face life, take risks, and this is how depression will shrink, right? Will shrink down like a balloon who has been popped. All right, guys. Good night.